Hello everybody, this is Oski, and in today's Fortnite video, we're going to be talking about Fortnite and their history of transformation mythics. What I mean by that is a mythic where you get an ability to transform into something or somebody and use some like one person per match type abilities that are usually really insane. And so we're going to kind of walk through the history. I'm going to talk about each one of them and give my thoughts at the end. So, the first transformation mythic we ever had in Fortnite was Thanos way back in Chapter 1. You could turn into Thanos during a match, and you basically would terrorize the entire lobby, and it was super fun from what I've heard. I didn't personally get to play that, but everybody knows about how terrifying it was and how powerful Thanos was. You could literally wipe the entire lobby, and nobody could really stop you. I remember seeing so many clips of people hiding in houses trying to just like run from him. And you could see him on the map too, so you knew when he was coming after you. But yeah, so that was the first one we ever had. You had multiple abilities. I'll put a clip of those on screen. But yeah, I personally never got to use it. I wish I did. It was very powerful. And then in Chapter 5, we had our second one. That was Dr. Doom and his island. Okay, so this would only spawn not every match, like one every 10 matches or something like that. I think they kept adding or buffing the spawn rate, but it was really low right away. I remember people were complaining about that so badly. And this was in Chapter 5, Season 4, of course, the Marvel season. In my opinion, it was super fun. I actually did get to use this one, and I really liked it. It was a really good idea. I think it was really fun. His powers were super cool with his like laser beams and like giant mystical ball orb explosion things. But there was also tons of controversy, like I said, about the spawn rate because it was just too low, and people were really upset with how much they had to play to actually even get a chance to have it, because obviously you had to kill everybody on the island as well. So yeah, very difficult to get, but it was worth it in the end. I remember playing as him, and I think I won the match that I got it. So yeah, that was our second transformation mythic. Next in the line, and this is in Chapter 6, so not too long ago, we had Godzilla. And this one, for me, is probably my favorite because I love Godzilla, and it was super fun to play as him, and it was so damn overpowered, genuinely. But this is the first time they introduced these transformation mythics with a time limit. So, you know, you didn't have him forever. You only had him for a few minutes. And it was enough to do some damage, of course. But I think they did this in response to people claiming that the Dr. Doom transformation was too broken. You couldn't really fight him. So they really didn't want you to be able to have Godzilla the entire match. It also just wouldn't be fair if you were Godzilla and the last guy, you know, was just a regular guy and it was just you two in the end zone. It does make sense to have this as a thing where you just fight people early game or mid game. But anyway, you were able to achieve this ability by running through a rift on the map. So you kind of had to get lucky on where it spawned because a lot of people are going to be way closer to you or way closer to the rift than you if it spawned on the other side of the map. Another thing to keep in mind is that this actually wasn't even 100%. I don't remember what the spawn rate was, but it was less than 100% because I remember King Kong would symbolize, you know, the spawn rate, whether or not it was going to spawn during that match. Overall, though, I think it was really cool and definitely something I never thought would be possible in Fortnite. And I had a ton of fun when I was able to use him. So props to Epic for that one. And then we had the Star Wars season, which was massively controversial in and of itself. But there was another transformation mythic. And this is where you could enter a portal, just like the Godzilla one, and you were able to control a Star Destroyer. So that means you're able to rain down laser cannons on people on the map, like just above them. And it actually was really overpowered because they were marked, so you were able to see all the people, which means they couldn't really hide. However, there was also a lot of stormtrooper bots on the map, or NPCs, I should say, or AI. So they were also marked, so it was kind of hard to tell who was a real person and who was a NPC. But anyway, I also never got to use this one because I was in Japan while it was available, but my girlfriend did, and she said it was super fun. And she also really talked about how terrifying it was when it spawned in anywhere near you and you just saw a giant Star Destroyer in the sky above you. And I can imagine that would be really terrifying. And I've seen clips too. So I really like that aspect of it, of just how scared people were to see it. But it was just like Godzilla. You had a time limit. So overall, it wasn't really that overpowered because you couldn't really move very far. So unfortunate for those people that were, on the same part of the map as you, but overall, it wasn't too overpowered. And, yeah. And now we're in our current season, okay? So we're in Fortnite Chapter 6 Super, and we have the Superman transformation mythic, and you have to run through like a Superman sigil on the ground that comes down from the sky. I believe it's in the escape pod that, like, Superman's parents send him out into the universe in. So that's kind of a cool little detail there. And it only has a 50% spawn rate, so that's not very good. I believe none of them have been 100% spawns, except for the Dr. Doom thing during the end of its lifetime. And, just like the other ones, it has a time limit, so you're not able to be Superman forever, which means like you'll have a health bar that slowly ticks down over time. I don't know how long you have it for, but like I said, you can't be it forever. And I understand why that makes sense. You wouldn't want to be like fighting Superman in the final zone with just you and him. That wouldn't be really fair. But unfortunately, it's absolutely terrible in terms of damage. It's super underwhelming, especially for literally like Superman. His name is Superman, okay? He's supposed to be like indestructible, super powerful, just like overall overpowered. And in reality, you only do 50 damage with like his mega punch and barely any damage with the laser eyes, considering how easy it is for multiple people who are all like trying to get the Superman ability. They'll all be around you. They're going to burst you down so easily because you don't really have that much health, and it's already ticking down just by time, and you don't do any damage. So in reality, it's kind of worthless to get this ability just for probably the fun mechanic of flying around, which I think is a really cool thing they did. But like, man, why does he do no damage? That's so underwhelming. I haven't gotten to play as him because I haven't really played much since he got added, but I do hope to get him and test him out for myself. But that's kind of the consensus right now, is that he's really underwhelming and needs to be buffed. So to me, it feels like Epic is really afraid to add things nowadays to the game that are like too good or overpowered. Whether or not this is based on Wrecked and the immense negative feedback they received for like the boss cars or etc., or maybe this is based on like past transformation mythics and people were complaining about those. I'm sure it's a mix of both. But yeah, it's super unfortunate in my opinion that the main highlight this summer, because to be honest, we haven't really been getting tons of Fortnite content since they've been on break. So like the main highlight is kind of a letdown, and it's a real shame because they're also not really adding anything else this update except for like the Fortress of Solitude, which I would have rather had been a whole POI instead of some small landmark on the edge of the map that nobody's going to go to. I don't know why they keep doing that with like these collab things instead of making them actual POIs, just like the Mortal Kombat thing. But I really want them to actually bring these things to POIs instead, just to make it a little bit more cool. And so those are my thoughts on all the transformation mythics. Overall, I think they're a really great idea and are becoming like a staple of Chapter 6. However, we need to see a buff to the Superman mythic or people are going to be really upset, including me. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the Fortress of Solitude, which was a whole POI. And one more thing that kind of sucks is the Superman rewards are extremely bugged again. Before, you weren't able to get the right cape when you unlocked him when you bought the battle bundle. And now that they're actually released, people aren't even getting them in their inventory when they unlock them. So that's a huge bummer, another letdown for this update in my opinion. But let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you guys think about the Superman Mythic, if you've played with it or not. Make sure to leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. It's been Oski. Peace out.